Oh boy, guess who needs to rush this intro? I'm going to try and build a robot in an hour. I'm making it out of servos and scraps, and hopefully it's going to be fun. This is something I wanted to try for a while. I kind of tried it a few weeks ago, as in just a general speed build, but it kind of turned into a 6.5 hour build, because I chose to do it about something I actually cared about. This time, the idea is simply to make something work. It doesn't have to be good. There are no other criteria here, except it working. I say that. I always believe that limitations breed creativity, therefore I did put out a little call for a theme that I should stick to, just to stop myself pre-planning this too much. Oliver from ESC has answered the call. I haven't read it yet, so I'm going to find out what he said. Oh, Oliver, you terrible man. So here is my brief. You can build whatever you like, but it must have a maritime theme. Extra points for closely integrating the function of your design with the theme. You build one boat and you typecast. Oh boy, that's actually super difficult. So if he said nautical, my mind would have immediately gone to sea creatures rather than boats. But I feel like maritime very strongly implies that the boat is the important part. I guess, right, while I run that through my brain quietly, here are the parts I'm using. Receiver, which I've already bound and mixed on the transmitter. 2 SG90s for drive, which I've already tested. SG90 is just a super cheap servo. I think I showed them off on the boat build, of course, yeah. So they're there. Again, I've tested those to make sure they're both running at roughly the same speed. That's all good. I do also have an SG90 that doesn't work very well that I might use for some kind of weapon, if I even try and do a weapon in an hour. Tools-wise, I've just got out the real basics. Screwdrivers, scissors, knives, tape, hot glue gun. Nothing fancy at all. In terms of materials, it's literally stuff out of the recycling. I've got some cans, I've got some boxes, I've got some cardboard. I do have a scraps bin that has some bits of polycarb and some bits of HDPE, but I feel like using those would be very much against the spirit of what I'm trying to do here, so I'm going to leave those alone as best I can. Right, so instinct says build a boat, which is, of course, the opposite of a fighting robot shape. It literally should be the other way up. Maybe with a sail, just to look more boaty. And I can do that quite easily. I can do wheels anywhere sort of along here. A weapon is tricky, though. I guess I could try and do a massive, like, spinner on the top that's going to be super slow but kind of funny. But I feel like, at that point, it's not really meeting the definition of a weapon, is it? I could go for some kind of paddle wheels. Maybe like paddle lifters. But I feel like for it to make sense, they'd have to be mounted on the back. Which means I'm going to end up driving backwards half the time, which means the back is basically the front. Which, again, I'm not sure. I mean, it would fit the spirit of the criteria, but I wouldn't feel good about it. Could cheat and go down the sea animal theme, but again, that feels a little cheeky. Dude, boats. What special kinds of boats are there? Hovercraft, no chance. I guess you've got like big freighters, container ships, things with sort of, I guess there are things with cranes on, but that's well beyond me, even with more than an hour. Oh! Okay. I've wanted to do a jellyfish thing for a while, and this could be my chance. What if? Does this make sense? I'll just draw it and work it out. What if this boat were in fact a catamaran? Let's look from the top. So you've got your normal, like, body, which obviously in this case is going to have motors, well, servos, and wheels. That's just going to have to happen. If I can hide them inside, brilliant, but again, got an hour. And then catamaran-like body extending either way with some kind of grabber, jellyfish style, kind of swinging across here. Don't quite know how I can justify the existence of that part, but maybe. Other thing I'm doing, no weight limit, no size limit. I feel like whatever I make, unless I make it huge, is going to come out roughly amp weight weight. Not outweight size, but outweight weight. Because again, I think having that kind of limitation is just going to, a cube would make this impossible. Other thing is, I'm hoping this will be a video in 2 parts, because, man, I'm out of breath already. This is horrible. It is quite hot. My phone can only record a 33-minute video. So I'm hoping 2 of those, an hour of build plus a bit of testing, equals perfect YouTube content. Right. To the big pile of scrap. God. Get rid of that. Let's face it, as a plan, that is basically nothing. I won't put it on top of the glue. Oh yeah, the glue gun's already heating up because I know what I'm about. So, looking at potential bodies, I feel like we're getting too big there. I do have loads of just flat pieces of cardboard, like old Easter egg boxes and things, which are nice, but if I could have something that was already a 3D shape, that's going to save me a bit of hassle. Wheels are going to be the other big challenge. I haven't really thought those through yet. So I've got loads of thin card. What corrugated card do I want? So I've got old Amazon box. Ooh, that's a good thick, like double thick, properly corrugated bit. I also have a full-size box, but again, that's huge. That's struggling to fit in shot. Slim pickings. I do have as well, outside of these things, just to give you a full picture of what I'm working with here. Got a few cans in different sizes. Gotta have the Pringles tube. And also, which I honestly am not going to use many because I need to clean it out, an old orange juice carton. I can see that being useful. If you're wondering why I have all this stuff, quite often in sort of primary teaching, especially with the younger age groups, we do something called junk modelling, which is basically just art where you stick bits of rubbish together. So I have a hoarder's mentality when it comes to this kind of thing. I think for a body, it's between these two. Both going to give me similar width. They're both going to give me plenty of depth. Oh, it'd be really nice to have that literally as access, then I can just tape it down. That would be handy, but there's something about these curves. There is something about these curves. I think with something across here, you could definitely mount servos to it and leave room for wheels to stick out. But that does then mean that I've got to attach the other parts on here. Although I suppose if they come off the bottom, it's also still wet from where I washed it. But luckily, one of the tools I prepared was paper towels, because having already done a build kind of like this, I've sort of worked out what things are useful to have around. Perfection. This literally contained my dinner tonight, by the way. This is what recycling truly looks like. Aesthetic versus function. I like this, but this is easier. But then again, is this strong? I think this is sturdy enough, that's the other thing. Although, you know what, it's branded, but it's blue, and blue is nautical, blue is maritime. Whereas, whatever colour this is, isn't. Right, a quick decision is a good decision. That's the key thing. I can't spend 5 minutes choosing what body I'm going to work with. I'm going to have to make a top plate for this. But you know what, it'll be made out of cards. Screw it. Let's go for the fun shapes. So, where's that big bit of corrugated card I have? There we go. So I'm thinking big back panel that I actually mount the servos to. While I'm doing that, I need to be thinking about what I'm going to do for wheels. I'm also going to need to turn my laptop off, because all the pings from Facebook Messenger are just telling me about the fun I could be having. Not that I'm not having fun with this. This is a fun task. I wouldn't have thrown it my own way if it wasn't. So, let's get the dangerous knife out. I can't really cut onto this table. This was a poor choice of table to have out, but it's just, well, as a joke, I was going to get my box of plasters out, but I can't see them, so I'll just have to not hurt myself, I suppose. Where are they? I bought those specifically for the shed. Anyway, nice thing about corrugated cardboard is it cuts really easy in this specific direction. Sorry, it cuts really easily in this specific direction. So that can go across there. I might actually try and keep it inboard just for aesthetics. There we go. Injury incoming. Good enough. Remember, 1 hour. I'm genuinely having to keep reminding myself of this because I will let perfectionism take over. That is a good amount of spare material for later as well. I'm happy with that. So this is where I thank myself for preheating the glue gun, although... How well hot glue sticks to things. It's always a bit of a lottery. So, I'm going to give this a quick scuffing up. Be good to hide that horrible top edge. Oh, I'm almost out of glue stick. That's going to be a problem. Well, let's get that on as best I can. It's not like it's probably the most important part of the whole build or anything. There goes got a little angle to it, but that's fine. That's probably somehow maritime, right? Fresh glue stick, that's the one thing I didn't get out. Dang it. Let's just, I feel like we should get the whole remaining box out, shouldn't we? Pays to be honest with yourself early on. About 50 minutes to go, beautiful. This feels doable so far, you know? I think routing these wires somewhere useful is going to be the tricky part. Although if I just send them straight up... I see, I want to send them straight up, but that does mean I then need a larger wheel. Whereas if I have them this way up... Actually, you know what? Just curving them back isn't a big deal. So I think that's going to go down there like that, minimising the wheel size that I have to have. Which again, is nice, because I still don't know what my wheels are going to be. Something I should do before I do that... mistake I've made in the past. These stickers, if you hot glue that down instead of the actual body of the servo, the stickiness of the sticker becomes the thing that's actually retaining your servo. That is bitter experience talking. Wow, that was a terrible effort, Ryan. This isn't the kind of thing I'm happy to be rushing. Maybe this is the sort of thing that should have come into my prep. Okay, that's one. Bin. Actually emptied the bin for this. That's how committed I am to this idea. Right. Sacrificial bit of cardboard. Fresh glue stick. And YouTube censorship in 3, 2, 1. There we go. So I said this was going to go... that way. Yeah, perfect. So, big blob of glue, because obviously this staying on kind of matters. Make sure I get plenty of stick out for the servo itself, as in for this part. Even though this is already sticking out past the main body, just want to make sure. And then I've got to try and get the other one roughly level with that. Should have got some clamps out really, so that I could be held without any issue, but 1 hour build, Ryan, come on. So that one goes like that, which means it's this sticker that comes off. I very quickly learned that kind of pairing it towards me was the easiest way. Boom, look at that. See, practice really does make perfect. And I am now perfect. Glue. Boom. I am generally half tempted to just hang all the electronics out of the back now that I've done this, but that is a questionable idea. Something that can happen, by the way, and this might end up being repetition from the other video I made where I also brought this up. Hot gluing servos down like this can deform the plastic enough for the gearboxes to no longer work. So I should really have been quite sparing with the glue. Instead, I chose to do the opposite. So I think plan is these come up and inside. Leave that a second longer to dry before I start pulling wires around too much. All of my glue sticks are spilled out of their box. Lovely. Glue stick can go away for a moment while we think. We stop and think about wheels. Now, the only round things I have are questionable in terms of A, grip, and B, the safety of using them. Because it would be nice to use the already round can. But it's super smooth. Maybe a layer of hot glue can kind of give it some rubberized tyre, but it will be super sharp on the outside, which I don't relish the idea of. I'm also not sure how I would actually do the servo horn. Is that central? That looks pretty central, you know. Hang on, I have pliers. Why am I doing it this way? Maybe they'll come in handy later. It'd be nice to use the whole can, you know. Obviously the underside is a no-go because it's concave. Actually, what I can do as well is I can push this flap back through. Maybe this can work, you know. Okay, this is going to be a questionable piece of tool usage. But... So when I put the cans kind of in the collection, I was thinking that A, you know, they are a useful round thing, and B, that they might have some value as metal. Basically, it's super thin, but it is metal, which maybe sort of rolled up or folded could provide strength to something that really needed it. And now I'm going to find out exactly how terrible an idea that might be. Maybe not that much stick out. Oh, come on, come back in. I want as much blade out as possible so that I can try and get the straightest cut possible. Because just rolling... Oh, that's a horrible sound. I'm so sorry. I figure the more blade out, the more chance of me going straight. But that might not actually be the case. A smarter person might have, you know, marked a line. But you didn't come here for that kind of person. You knew what you were signing up for. So far, so slightly wonky. For some reason, I'm super nervous about the second one now. Ooh, this is... Finishing it is tricky. So many sharp edges everywhere. Could probably get scissors into this, you know. Maybe they were the right tool for the job all along. So that is just super sharp. I do not feel good about what I've done here. Remember, this is not a how-to. I don't want anyone, especially young people, young impressionable people out there, to think that I'm saying this is how you should do this. So I should have cleaned that, but... I'm not completely dissatisfied with that. That could work. I'm not sure I want it to work, but it could work. So, went in at kind of the base of the leaf, okay. So who needs to mark a line when there's already markings on the thing you're cutting? Okay, I'm into a bit more of a thin aluminium cutting groove now. I think I'll do differently to last time. So I won't try to do the last bit of the cut with the knife, because that was sketchy. So there we go, that's getting pretty close. Just put the knife half away, Ryan, that's the safe thing to do. There we go. That actually went a bit better than the first, to be fair. Hope I don't end up using you for a while, you're scary. So these are potentially wheels. I'm thinking I might not put them on yet, just because I don't want them on the robot for any longer than necessary while I'm working on it. They might be one of the last things that actually get attached, but it does mean that I can start working out the overall scale of this thing, because that is quite important to me. So, we have the servo with the wire going up there and the wheel, and yeah, I should have put the servos higher, shouldn't I? But it's okay, it's a catamaran, you know, it can lean forward a bit. I'm sure that's what catamarans do. Sometimes I don't even convince myself. Right, so we are 20 minutes down, but a few minutes of that was intro, so I'll give myself some slack. It does however mean that within 13 minutes I'm going to need to restart the camera, which will mean we're going on to part 2 for you. So, maybe wires should just meet in the middle. I'm going to start managing the wiring now. I'm not going to wait to start managing the wiring. Wire management is important. And this is the extent of my wire management. There we go. Might pretty it up later, but for now, that is perfectly serviceable. There's going to be so much room internally. All that needs to go inside is a tiny battery and a receiver. That's fantastic. And quite a lot of wire, to be fair, but that's definitely the most space I've ever had for components. Should I do that now? I think I should do that now, you know. I can't remember which way round these were. Make sure I get them the right way up. This is the moment where commentary always kind of gives way to making sure I'm not about to blow the whole thing up. There we go. Get the transmitter on. Testing is definitely eating up some time here that I'd like to not be eating, but it would be a real false economy to not check this now. Okay, so one thing I'm seeing is that everything is inverted. So I could change that all on here, or I could quickly just switch the two servos around on here, which I think will fix it. I'm still not that familiar with mixing, to be honest. So switch those around. Testing always scares the hell out of me as well, I must say. Like, the fear of something blowing up. Even though it would have if you hadn't tested it, it would just have done it later on when the stakes were higher. I still don't like doing it. I'm not going to put a switch in this, by the way. I'm just going to leave this cable sort of hanging out. Right, now I need to turn. So that's forwards, backwards, right, sorry, left, right. Perfect. I'm glad I actually had experience of doing that. It's not fun, mixing. Now, I was going to say, unless I choose to add a weapon, I know I'm going to add a weapon. So I could almost seal that in now, but we'll hold fire for now. For now. Right, the next part I need, where did I put the design? Not that I forgot what it looks like, but I feel like as a video maker I should show you. So, that's this bit. Do you see the resemblance? Now we need these bits, something sticking off the front, which I'm going to mount just to the base. So I guess, oh, I was going to say electronics should come out now. Battery can come out now, though. That's the sort of safety thing that's important, right? That other battery's done charging. That's handy. Should really chuck another one on while I can. This doesn't count against the time. One of the things I've learned since sort of soloing this kind of stuff is that battery management is probably the most tedious part of this whole process. This whole sport, this whole hobby. There you go, that's on, and it charges. Good, I didn't over discharge it, because that's always a possibility when you're running stuff with kids and you don't get the feedback of when something's really out of power. So I have these, or have this. I could, but I will make the start of the arms, the catamaran arms, out of this. So just two that kind of extend forward. I think I'll link them onto the back as well, just for some security. And then I'll try and build them up a bit, because obviously you need to stop another robot just driving. I don't know how that meant driving over it, but you know what I mean. So I think Am I going to want to use any more of this, or can I just do it in half? I can just do it in half, you know. Use the scissors this time because they're less sketchy. Also less effective though. I'll do most of it. 25 minutes, I've got about 8 minutes left on this video. Yeah, engineering. Is that a good length? I feel like that might be a good length, you know. Except that's not wide enough to scoop anything into, so I can either... Yeah, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I feel like I'm making good enough time to make these kind of choices. It's the kind of sentence that comes back to haunt a man. If I were editing this video properly, there'd probably be some kind of flashback moment to that coming up. Let's go there. Arbitrary measures, but I have at least kind of worked to keep them the same. Oh, that's bad, very bad. Those marks are on there forever now. Excellent. Scissors, even though they're not the best tool, because I don't have to put something down to cut down onto. And these could come in handy for something, so I will keep them around. Another thing I need to think about is what to physically make the grabby part of the weapon out of. Might try and find some plastic from the pile for that, just to give it a bit more strength, because obviously when it's being moved around on the servo, I've kind of got my eye on as a potential weapon servo is the one that's in the original fill, actually. I had to do a pretty janky soldering job to get it back together and working, so I'm not going to use it in anything good, so it might as well go in something bad. That's gone on the floor. Oh. Picked it up, then dropped it again because I knocked it on a wire. Classic. Classic Bradley mistake. Let's go this way up, because then you can't see as much of my marking. There we go. Although if I could... See, I would spread it out, but then I feel like it's less catamaran-y and more fighting robot-y, which obviously isn't the goal here. Glue. More glue. Spread, my pretty spread. Hope this was the right one, because it's the one that's going on there now. Oh, this thin plastic does not take kindly to the heat of hot glue. Don't know how long that's going to hold, you know. Oh, that's really hot through the plastic as well. Bums. Let's just do the other side. Go gung-ho on this thing. That might need some kind of reinforcement later on. If it does, I will give it. Wow, that glue really isn't drying / cooling very quickly. Might need something in here to really hold it. But again, cross that bridge if and when we come to it. Maybe that's what these scraps will turn out being handy for. I should really have something coming out the back as well to make it more catamaran-y, but we'll see. We'll get this sorted first. Really hope this is what a catamaran looks like, because I wouldn't know. Another thing I should do is find, when you're putting wheels onto a servo, this kind of servo horn is nice because it's just got a little bit of side support. Although, you know what? Does it matter for this build? Not really. Right, I've got about 3 minutes of this video left, and I'm very mindful that I don't want to be caught in the middle of something. So let's quickly, and I do mean quickly, do something to just de-sharpen the edges of these wheels, because I don't want to hurt myself. Hurting other people is fine. Hurting yourself is silly. Once again, this is the quality standard we're working to. Not sure that was the best decision. If I'm going to do that, I might need some relief cuts in the tape. Although, actually, it's kind of gone into place. It's fine. Don't know how well hot glue tread will work on this. I might try actual lines as tread. It'll be kind of not incremental grip. That's not the word I'm looking for. It'll be. There's a word for it that I would sometimes have the vocabulary to know. Not intermittent. That's the word. Intermittent grip, but it will be grip. Because remember, the aim of this is not for it to be good. The aim of this is for it to work. And honestly, it will probably have more grip than my school robot does, which uses some circles of yoga mat, which I know is used in Beetles from time to time, but that's A, proper EVA foam, and B, usually on things that don't need any push. Whereas a kind of lifter or control bot really needs that push. Right, I've got just over a minute. Can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? I'm going to cut myself rushing, aren't I? That's the best bit. If only I had some plasters around here. Come on, one more piece, one more piece. Gonna make it a long one. Probably getting things out of shot. I do apologise. That's what happens when I rush. Boom! Right, with that, I'm going to stop this video. Get going again. This is part 1. There will be a part 2. I don't know if it will come out at the same time, but I'll have links in various places. Like, I don't know where we put links. I don't know how to YouTube. I'll be back in what for me is just a few seconds.